TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop. Come on, baby, higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for Three Men in a Box. One of my favorite times of the week. Why? Because Friday's here, but I get to talk to the NCAA Insiders, and if you guys aren't following them, shame on you. Good Lord. You missed not one but two seasons of college baseball? You missed a season of college football? Well, you don't have to miss any more. Head on over, go follow Quentin Mills, Matt Grissom, and of course the NCAA Insiders, and then we'll take care of the rest. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsor and partnerships, WagerWire. If you haven't downloaded the app, head on over to Google Play, download it. It's free. I promise you, myself, Travis, and Zach, the rest of this team and family will take good care of you. It'll be the most used app the rest of this season and into 2025 and beyond. Viva Tequila Seltzer. Back east, we're cuckoo for coconut. If you haven't tried it, shame on you. CT Bets, the rest of that team and family, second to none. Where you go watch the games, where you go to buy adult beverages. Get a 4-pack. Get a case. If they don't have them, ask why. And our newest sponsor, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, Terry Smith. Head on over to Facebook, follow Terry Smith, follow Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Hit them up on the website. You'll be grilling for opening kickoff Sunday at noon. So without a doubt, three great proud sponsors and partnerships. We couldn't be happier. But it's all about college football. So without further ado, the two stars of this show, Mr. Matt Grissom and Quentin Mills.
What's up, Jeff?
What's up, boys?
What's up, Mr. Dawson?
Currently ordering some Viva seltzer because I checked out their map and there is not a store within 100 miles of me to buy it. So congratulations. Tell CT that you've got to sell.
I will make sure I tell CT that. And for me, I am blessed. A young gentleman by the name of Austin comes to the Cape once a month, or I save him a trip to the Cape, and he meets my daughter in South Boston, where they do a lot of their filming and stuff. So I will make sure we pass it along. Thank you so much, Mr. Grissom. And in your order, make sure you just, maybe there's a spot to add a note, and then you can add a note. East Coast Sports Investors, Jeff Dawson sent you there. How's that?
You don't have a discount code, do you? I saw CT was on Oklahoma State, so we're going to have to talk about that. But are you high on the coconut? Is that the best flavor?
Well, they're all great flavors, so I don't know if they'll allow you to mix and match, or is this going to be, because I would just get a 4-pack of all of them and just figure out what you like the best. But there's no high tequila, you're not tasting the tequila. They do an amazing job. So refreshing. None of the flavors will do you wrong, put it that way.
Sweet. Ordered.
Shout out to Mr. Smooth. He says, mail him to Vegas, Matt. Mail him to Vegas. Happy Friday, gentlemen. And that includes me, I guess. So, Mr. Alvarez, I hope you have a great week. Week number 2, NCAA. Week one in the books. Quentin, we're not going to go there to start. So, what did you see other than that game that really opened your eyes?
I would say, or in terms of that game or another game.
Another game. We're not going to the swamp yet.
Oregon came out a little slow. I know Dylan Gabriel kind of jammed his hand off a helmet. I'd be curious. I know he played the rest of the game. I haven't heard much about it, so I don't think it was anything probably more than just a little stinger. But I'm really curious to see how they bounce back from a weird performance. Like the stat line, they filled the stats from the 20s. It was just 20 into the end zone. They couldn't figure it out, which is a little weird. Obviously, credit to, I believe it was Idaho, had a great game plan. They expected, hey, we're going to do the bend but not break, and that's really all that matters. You can throw for 1,000 yards as long as you don't score. We could care less. So I would say that was a surprise for me. I think I was actually surprised on a positive note how decent Garrett Nussmeier looked. I thought he looked pretty well. I had concerns that they were going to go from Jaden Daniels, which was obviously a dual threat, in my opinion, primarily a running quarterback, to a pocket pro. It's kind of like that Brad Johnson feel, just kind of tall, stands there and fires it. I thought he did really well. LSU, though, they just don't have the receiving core that they've had in the past. There's no Landry, there's no OBJ, no Justin Jefferson, and you could obviously go down a list of wide receiver greats they've had there in the Bayou. And then I would say my worst is, I really owe an apology to Boston College. I thought Florida State would kind of bounce back, but not so much for DJU. I thought it was the defense, and it was far from it. The defense just got scoured all game long. They couldn't figure out what a halfback wheel route was. It didn't matter if they ran it 3 plays in a row. It was complete all 3 plays for typically more yardage than the previous plays. So Boston College looked really good. Bill O'Brien, he's got something churning. He's figured out the college game pretty well through his tenure at Penn State and obviously with the GOAT Nick Saban. So I owe Boston College an apology, and I look forward to hopefully Bill O'Brien turning them back to kind of the Matt Ryan days.
And I'll piggyback off of that. I had the Boston College team total under 16 and a half. And, at halftime, I think they had 14. And that beautiful interception that I call them ukulele threw. It was lights out. I mean, I thought I was watching Nebraska in 1980. I mean, they ran for 270 yards here. And all the hype was Castellanos here. And here they're just running this through Swiss cheese here. 0-2 now for FSU. 0-2 in Toodaloo. I'm sorry. They have quarterback issues. I, too, expected a stronger performance from the defense. Obviously, we didn't get that there. As for Oregon, I'm not taking any away from Idaho. Oregon, high expectations, Big Ten. We're talking top 4 in the country here. They look at their schedule and there's the Idaho sack of potatoes, and they just got to be like, are you kidding me, AD? I mean, I know we're going to get our end zone dances all prepared, but it was a lackluster effort. Nothing against Idaho there, but again, looking for a higher octane offense moving forward, obviously from the Ducks. Mr. Grissom, what did your eyes see?
I think Q nailed it. Oregon was probably the biggest one that jumped off the page for me. Dylan Gabriel threw for around 400 yards, but you look up in the fourth quarter and it's 14-17. Idaho's kind of got all the momentum. You're wondering, where's this Dan Lanning defense and where's this offense? Ultimately, they got the win. I don't think it's going to be that easy for them this weekend against Ashton Jeanty and the Boise State Broncos, but we'll see. And then, Florida did disappoint me a lot, and I didn't bet them because it's Q's team and I wanted them to win. I bet them because it made sense. The plus 3.5, you're in the swamp. Billy Napier's on the hot seat. You've got Graham Mertz back. You've got the skilled players, and they just laid an egg. And we may be too quick to rush and say, okay, Miami's going to run the table and win it all. It may just be Florida. Florida's in a bad place, and unfortunately I've seen it. I saw it with Arkansas. You can have talent up and down your roster, but if the team doesn't believe in the coach, it's really hard to get kids to buy in. and to compete. So we'll see how Florida bounces back with Lagway starting this weekend. But other than that, I think a lot of things went how I thought they would over the weekend. USC looked really good. I think Miller Moss showed up and showed out on a big stage. And then LSU, that running back number 22, he looked dangerous. But then I just saw he's out for the season. So LSU is going to struggle. I feel like Nussmeier did look good, but like Q said, the skill position players are just not what they once were.
And I agree with all your points as well there. The number was almost enticing to us, obviously. It was 2.5 for a long time in the swamp. I thought they were really baiting us, obviously, to take Miami. When I did my preseason looks, I have the Pick Six books as I'm highlighting my Pick Six college book from Brett. I high expectations on the U. I had them just losing one game. And the problem with Miami, very simply, is if they're in a close game, the coach has made the biggest boneheaded mistakes in the world, Cristobal. So as much the Miami success this year is how many games do they not have to need a boneheaded coach's decision from him? They took the air right out of the swamp early. They kind of stepped on the gas in the third quarter, start the second half. It was lights out. Q, you got plenty of time to regroup there. Season's not over. We do know Napier is on the hot seat. Quarterback now issues. What's the temperature in the room on the Gators moving forward?
If they get I think loosely everybody kind of knows this, and if they have a similar showing against Texas A&M, who also didn't look that great at the quarterback position, as well as another rough outing against Tennessee and Kentucky, he's gone for sure. If they lose to Samford in some crazy fashion, I wouldn't be upset, because I think sometimes you got to take a loss to have a greater good. But two, he would obviously be out immediately. Here's the thing that I actually am curious to see. So Graham Mertz takes the concussion. They're far two different players. Mertz is, and Trey Wilson said it, he kind of throws that ball right into your pocket. You don't even have to do anything. Graham Mertz does. DJ's got a rifle, and you just saw the zip on the back-to-back slant routes. You could see it hit Trey Wilson, and it was all that Trey could do to not drop it. Just kind of that Brett Favre, breaking fingers type throw. From what I've been told and what I've read, it's Graham Mertz's job when he comes back, regardless of how DJ plays. They would have to win, I'm thinking 73-7 against Samford. Mertz maybe misses one more game. They come back and have another incredible performance to even consider pushing Mertz out. I don't know that that's the right answer. I don't know that that's the wrong answer. Graham Mertz, he didn't look that bad in my opinion. The line got pushed by Miami. That's not on him. At some point, what are you supposed to do? The play calling, whether he's checking down or that's the play he's been given. A lot of the check downs, I'm not there on the sidelines to say if it's his fault or not. What I do know is Lagway introduces another style of the offense you have to, kind of like Anthony Richardson, respect. So do you want to go back to that if it's working, with Lagway or not? I think that's the biggest question, and I think that could cause some of the biggest revolt from Gator fans is if Lagway looks good and they go back to Mertz, what's that going to do? I think that could, cause some riots there in Gainesville. But ultimately, I hate to say I hope my team loses, but I wouldn't be upset if they lost to Samford.
There's nobody more popular than the backup quarterback, and Florida's backup quarterback happens to be one of the best quarterback recruits in the country. Albeit he's young, it's just like he said, it's Anthony Richardson once again. If he comes out and flashes, I feel like a lot of Florida fans are going to be like, all right, the future's now. We got to go. While that may not be the best thing for this kid.
We talked about Florida State, the quarterback issues, and I say this tongue-in-cheek, I call him ukulele. He's not the answer. And I'm going to go to Matt here with this question. Dabo Sweeney, Clemson, no Deshaun Watson, no Trevor Lawrence. He's been looking for a quarterback now for years. We know they got athletes. We know they got a defense. He's stubborn, ego, not using the transfer portal. Was it so much Same old Dabo and Clemson, or did Georgia make a statement?
I think Georgia made a statement. I don't think Clemson is as bad as what they looked the other day. The problem is it was experience versus a bunch of kids. And at the end of the day, the experience is going to rise to the top, especially when it's Kirby Smart coming off. They got slighted being left out of the playoff. They had a lot to prove. They had a big game. They never, I don't know how him and Nick Saban always get by with their biggest games are at a neutral field. I guess that's the way to do it and not have to have a big road game. But I think Georgia just asserted their dominance, and they played with them there for the first half, and then in the second half they really started pulling away.
I think it's actually kind of skewed. I think part of the problem is when you compare an ACC schedule to an SEC, it's night and day. And I mean, let's enter Miami. Yeah, they beat Florida SEC team, but that's a one-game example until the playoffs. What would they do against an all SEC schedule? They'd probably lose 3 or 4 games, and nobody bats an eye. You lose 3 or 4 with Miami's schedule and or Clemson's in the ACC this year, and you're like, man, this team's terrible. I think Clemson is a quality program. I think they relied again on the Trevor Lawrence, even the Taj Boyd when they had him, the Deshaun Watson, like those are generational players. The problem is those players now are going to the NIL. They're not staying, in your program for 3 or 4 years. And that's where Dabo needs to adapt. So I think not only is it Dabo not adapting, where I said, I believe on this show last week, Georgia in the second half is going to show the men versus the boys. And that's exactly what happened. You just have to adapt, whether you like it or not. Your job's on the line. You either go with the flow or you don't. And I think that's what we're looking at with that. Georgia, again, Matt brought it up a good point. Like they felt slighted from last year. So I think you add that on top as a motivation, a momentum thing. But with Clemson, I don't think they're that good. I think they have good talent. But again, like Matt had said, it's experience versus talent. And when you play an ACC schedule, which is already softer, and then you add on an 18 to 19-year-old kid, it's tough. I mean, these teams, when you only have to beat them one time, like in a playoff situation, it's easier to conceal this. You put Clemson in the SEC now, and they're probably a 4 to 5 loss team. It just is what it is.
We're going to go to a quick
Klubnik. Sorry,
go ahead, Matt.
Klubnik, he was 22 quarterback recruit. He was in a class with Drew Aller at Penn State, Connor Weigman at Texas A&M, and then it just falls off the list. Like, that was not a very strong recruiting class for quarterbacks. Just wanted to point that out because Cade was a 5-star, but he just doesn't really look like it. And you can make the case, I know it's a small sample size, but neither is Connor Weigman.
We're going to go to a quick 30-second break, and then when we come back, Quentin Mills with his Viva 6-pack for the weekend. ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. That time of the show right now, Mr. Quentin Mills, your Viva 6-pack.
I've had Mamitas, another tequila brand. I'm going to have to try Viva if I'm handing out 6-packs of it. So to start, it's an ugly one. I know Matt's against it, but I like the matchup. I like the stadium. Duke Northwestern first quarter under 7.5. Both programs, especially with Riley Leonard, Mike Elko gone. Manny Diaz, it's his first year. I think they could struggle. It's a weird stadium, weird environment. On the road, Northwestern comes off a nasty but a covering win. They have a decent defense, and I think this is going to be a situation where both teams kind of start slow, maybe under-talented. You can kind of sneak away with a 3-0 or 7-0 first quarter and hit that bet on the hook. Play that for a half unit. I do like Northwestern money line. Again, Riley Leonard's not there. Manny Diaz first year, defense first, has never had a great offense wherever he's at, whether it was Miami, Penn State, same thing. I know he's a coordinator there, but same situation. So I like the Cats at home again. Nebraska, Maryland. Nebraska got embarrassed last year by Colorado. There's a lot of storylines about respect between Matt Rule and Deion Sanders. Matt's playing it down, but I think in the locker room, it's huge motivation. I think they're going to make a statement. They got Dylan Raiola this year at quarterback. I love them, and I have them parlayed with Maryland. Maryland always starts 4-1, 5-0, and then they fall off in the meaty part of the schedule. Aaron Childs said take the over. He looked horrible. That was a major overreaction on his part. Maryland's a tough place to play for the first 5 games. Again, I stated that. Their quarterback got in last year. He's comfortable with the offense. He's like 240 pounds. If they get close to the goal line, he's going to barrel in for touchdowns. So give me that on a parlay. I also alt-lined Maryland at -6.5. I think they win by a touchdown at home. I like Utah. I think Utah has something to prove. I think they get Keith back, obviously. Cam Rising's back. Last week they kind of was on cruise control and scored at will. I think they're going to do the same thing and cover and win by 14-17 here against Baylor. And then I have the Oregon team total over 39.5. I think this is a 42-21 type game. Boise gives up points. They gave up 45 to Georgia Southern last week. I think Oregon bounces back and fills that stat column out with some points as well as the yardage. So that's my 6-pack. I love it, which is kind of scary.
Well, I want to also say, ECSI VIPs was on the Maryland team total last week over against UConn. Thank God, we got basketball coming up November 1st. But I 100% agreed with you with the fact that they are a team that comes out guns a-blazing, and they do very well into September, early October, pad the stats, and then next thing you know, they face the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Penn States, and then they're holding on dearly trying to get to a bowl game.
Yeah.
Go follow Quentin Mills at Q Millie. That's let me see. I'm going to screw this one up now. That's Q Millie with a couple M's and a couple L's and a few Y's, right?
I think it's
Q
just
Millie,
one M.
3 L's, 2 Y's. It's the ever-long saying.
All right, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, Matt Grissom's 6-pack of slab, we're going to call it, from Atlanta Steak and Seafood. See you soon. Quentin Mills, have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. I want to shout out to Mr. Quentin Mills. I can't say how much I enjoy our time here. You guys' work, Matt. I remember 2 years ago reaching out to you guys. I saw your show, and I am a diehard baseball fan. I'm a diehard kids. No disrespect to the NFL, okay? No disrespect to MLB, but when it comes to bang for your buck, there's nothing better than the kids, whether it's college baseball or college football, and you have taken this to another level. The NCAA Insiders, your website, your stats, the work that you guys do is second to none, Matt.
Well, I appreciate that, and we're just continuing to get better. Nick and Parker have been going at it since about 5:30 in the morning my time. They're both, I guess, East Coast. Parker's Central with me, but they're just hammering out the website. If you haven't gone and checked it out, it's collegefootballinsiders.com. I think we've got all the bugs worked out with the HTTP and the www. I think it's all working now, so however you type it. But, yeah, I'm really excited about the growth of it. We had a comment on the YouTube page the other day that made me smile. Somebody just said, this is a very underrated podcast where you get a lot of information, and that's what we're trying to do, is just provide people bettable information and try to be somewhat entertaining. I know we're not the best looking guys in the world, and we definitely don't do the walk-in bets, but I may have to get Haley involved. I know Q's talked about getting Jess involved too, but however we can deliver good information to people, that's what we're trying to do.
Well, a couple weeks ago, we were live from Radio Row at the Circa. Shout out to Jeffrey Benson and Derek breaking records. Was listening to Derek on the new time slot of Mitch and Paulie yesterday afternoon, talking about just the Survivor contest alone could reach 14 to 15 million dollars. Just crazy. I have to ask, when you left Vegas, did you sign up for either one of the contests?
I didn't pull the trigger. I kept saying I was going to sign up for Survivor, and then I kept watching it, and I mean, it's a crapshoot. The NFL, it's so much harder than college for me, and I just ultimately I stayed away. I played Kelly in Vegas. Shout out to her. She finally did a college football contest. It's for $100,000, $500 buy-in. It's I think 7 picks against the spread each week where you designate a best bet. And then I was holding out for humans to invite me to be a part of the Circa Football Friday Football Invitational. I got the heartbreaking email the morning he announced the final 5, and he said you were if I had 26, you'd have been in. I was number 26, so they invited me to compete in the Average Joe contest, and I plan on winning that one. So between the college football Survivor that Kelly's doing, and then the Pick'em, and then I'm in with Sean and Jim on the Westgate Superbook against the spread contest, whatever it is. But I've got enough irons in the fire. I'm not in a single fantasy football league. I'm in one guillotine league. So all my focus is going to be on college football this year.
Before we get to your picks for this weekend, Card, got to ask you the temperature in the room, what your eyes saw, obviously opening week. How you feeling about Arkansas moving forward?
You know, I think the biggest thing that people say is you have the biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2. And I don't know how you can improve on a perfect game. I think there's still some question marks as far as the kicking. We didn't see a field goal attempt, and I bet we will against Oklahoma State. So do you want to trot out a guy who's never made a collegiate kick on the road in a shoebox stadium? I don't know if you've seen Oklahoma State's stadium there, but there's like 8 feet from the crowd to the field. I mean, there's no clearance. They're going to be right on top of you. That's not a time I'd want. You know, even if we just would have kicked it on 2nd or 3rd down, just get a field goal against UAPB, I would feel a little bit better. But the unknown of that, and then, you know, we've had I think our center or long snapper one just quit the team when he lost out on the starting job, which Pittman really didn't allude too much into what that story was. But that's a little concerning. I don't really know what the depth is like on the offensive line. That was a problem last year, and I know Pittman is an O-line guy. So there's still some question marks with the O-line, albeit they looked good against UAPB. It was UAPB. They were 2-9 last year. Oklahoma State faced South Dakota State, who was 15-0. They looked good. I think Bowman played a really good game. Ollie Gordon, he did not average less than 40 yards a carry. Just like our coach mentioned, to be able to dial it up and keep Bowman a little bit. So, Pittman, I think, is 10-3 on the road against the spread, and 10-1 like that over. So I have a hard time not saying that Arkansas plus points and over. But interestingly enough, Circa just moved that number to Arkansas plus 10. And I just take some guess and try to get some on that at 5 and 9 moves. I think they were sitting at 8, so to see a 2-point jump up to a key number of 10, that's pretty interesting.
When Jeffrey Benson makes those power moves and I'm on the other side, I cringe. I usually send him a direct message saying, Jeffrey, what are you doing to me right now? when you see a move like that, do you start to wonder, are you going to have your eyes on the end game there, or are you just going to pray?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime is my mic too loud or too quiet? Can you hear me okay? Okay. Uh, I think anytime you're talking about college football,
No,
and
you're fine. You're fine.
okay, the volatility of scoring. I mean, we've already seen it early in the season where a team may get down or they're playing, playing with their food, like I like to say, which I feel like Oregon was doing against Idaho. You just keep thinking, all right, they're going to eventually pull away. So I think there's definitely spots to end game this, depending on how we start. My only fear in end gaming it is I do feel like the line will come down. Say we both score on the scripted drives at 7-7. I don't think you're going to get plus 7.5 or plus 10 anymore with Arkansas.
Do you have a gauge of potentially what their team total is? I know that's usually a good play for you. I've been looking. I don't have it in front of me.
It is 26.5 for Arkansas and 36.5 for Oklahoma State.
Wow. Wow. Do you like the over?
I mean, I lean the over. I haven't bet the over. I'm on Arkansas plus 4.5 for the first half, and then plus 7.5 for the game, though.
All right. Well, it's about that time. What about the Mr. Grissom 6-pack of rib? We're gonna call it. I'm gonna come up with a good name. We're gonna use the Atlanta steaks and seafood for you. So we got a 6-pack or a slab of ribs or two every week for you. So where are your eyes this week, Matt?
Well, like I said, Arkansas plus 7.5. A couple other key notes from that South Dakota State game for Oklahoma State. They were on third down. They were only 5 of 14. UAPB was held to 0.3 yards per rush. Again, I know it's UAPB, but if we can contain Ollie Gordon and make Alan Bowman beat us, I don't think he'll be able to. So you look at their efficiency. We held UAPB 1 of 10 on third. Oklahoma State, again, was only 5 of 14. Bowman, he 25 of 34, 74% completion rate, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns. But again, this backbone is Ollie Gordon. So I feel like you key in, stop the run, which Arkansas can do well. I think we beat them through the air. Maybe not, even if Ollie Gordon rushes for 150 yards, I think we're in it. The question mark is going to be Alan Bowman and how many times we can force Oklahoma State off the field. And then moving to the Big 12 versus SEC showdown in Tempe, Arizona. That doesn't make sense. We've got Mississippi State. I took them plus 5.5 versus Arizona State. Arizona State may have been one of the bigger shocking, if you just check the box scores. I know a lot of people I respect were on Wyoming. They thought Evan Sabota would be a lot better than what he was. Arizona State's defense made him look silly. He threw for 42 yards. He had negative 30 rushing yards, 2 interceptions. But how did Arizona State score? You asked that, and they didn't do anything extremely well either. I think Jeff Lebby, if this gets into a shootout, take the Bulldogs plus 5.5. Blake Shapen looked really good. He didn't have to do a lot. He rushed the ball for a touchdown. He threw for 3, 15 of 20. That was a very vanilla offense that they had, and that's what you want in a game 1 walkover. I can't think of who they played, but it wasn't a very good team. But I like Mississippi State. I am lower on them this season, but I do think Jeff Lebby has the tools to be able to compete, especially with Arizona State, who I think this number dropped because of their great performance against Wyoming, but I'm not putting a lot of stock into that. And then let's talk about Oregon, Boise State. I took the over 60. I think Ashton Genty is going to be able to run the ball. They average 5.3 yards per rush for Idaho. And Oregon, I mean, their defense, it has been better for a quote-unquote Pac-12 type of defense. However, averaging over 5 yards a carry or allowing Idaho to, and then now you're facing what could be the best running back in college football. I think he's going to get his. And Dylan Gabriel, he looked sharp if you check the stat line, but it was a bunch of dink and dunk. I feel like Boise State's going to give up a lot of points. They gave up, I think, 42 or 45 points to Georgia Southern. So they're going to be able to give up points. I think Boise State could probably get 3 or 4 touchdowns. And then Ashton Genty, 2+ touchdowns on DraftKings is plus 425. I kind of like that a little bit as well.
I had the Georgia Southern team total over, I think it was 21.5. 21.5, I think it was, on Saturday against Boise State. And halftime I was feeling real good. And then the third and fourth quarter, I mean, Georgia Southern actually took a lead there too. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to win this game outright. Boise State said, hold my beer, not so fast. That the rest was history there.
Yeah, I think Dylan Gabriel, he should be able to feast on this. Georgia Southern quarterback he threw for 322 yards, 2 touchdowns. I feel like Dylan Gabriel, he could pretty much name his score. And I do think that with Dan Lanning just feeling a little defeated, even after a win in that Oregon locker room, I feel like they're going to come out guns blazing. That's why I like the over.
I can't let you leave without at least breaking down what your numbers see on an inflated line, a big time game, a number that opened 4.5, 5 that is just steamrolled, and of course that's Colorado traveling Nebraska. Colorado caught them early in their early season last year when they had the great run early. A close first half, Colorado kind of leaned on them. We know about their offensive prowl, with Sanders, with Travis Hunter and Horn. They're going into a Nebraska team with Matt Rule in this second season. His usually big jump is in the third season. Well, Nebraska had a great showing, quote-unquote Patrick Mahomes Part 2 at quarterback now. And if they win this game, Matt, and I am putting the cart before the horse, there is a path where Nebraska could start the season 6 or 7-0.
Yeah, that's been a big thing I've hung my hat on. As Rule is a year 3 guy. Raiola did look really good, but Deion Sanders is a favorite, is 1-3-1 against the spread. As a dog, he is 6-2. I'm on Colorado plus 7.5. I think Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter are going to be able to score. I think it's going to be a great game, and it'll be front and center on my TV, but I think Colorado is going to hang with them. I think Deion and Matt Rule, whether they want to admit it or not, there is some beef there. And I think Deion shows up. He's heard the criticism for, maybe some mismanagement of the play clock and not running the ball when he should have. I think he's going to let Shedeur let it fly.
Well, the stage is yours as always. Go follow you, obviously, on Grissom on X at NCAA Insiders, but tell them where the website is and tell them where they can find all your work.
Yeah, go check out all Parker and Nick's great work, collegefootballinsiders.com. Again, the more stats that we can accumulate, the better the data is going to be. We're still running off some of last season's stats mixed in with week 0, week 1 stats, but the website is totally interactive. If you were on it for the college baseball, where we did score projections and everything, all the advanced analytics, success rate, EPA, ECHL, it's all on there for you. And again, we're trying to get better and better, providing bettors with every tool they would need to successfully handicap.
The one and only Matt Grissom at Grissom on X at NCAA Insiders. Go follow him. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we do come back, we're going to give you the schedule for the rest of Friday and maybe a quick peek at a couple games that our eyes are seeing now. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Jeff.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Great information from Matt and Q, NCAA Insiders. The best in the business when it comes to the kids. We this is year 2 now of our college baseball and football show with them. Show them some love. Head on over. Go follow Matt at Grissom on X, and of course you can go find Q at Q Millie. There. Busy day here for ECSI in the ECSI studio. We started the day with Andrew McGinnis at Wager Talk and McGinnis Picks, talking some NFL, a little college football there. We come right into the NCAA Insiders now, hoping at 1:30 Travis Geiger and potentially the good doctor himself, Zach, here to talk about their Circa Survivor picks, how they got there, and a little partnership with Bet Rhythm there. And then around 4:30, myself and Riley Magnuson will be back for the closing bell as we're going to get you set up for the MLB, college football, and of course the NFL game tonight as the Eagles face the Packers live in Brazil. And then we'll end the day at 6:15 p.m. with In the Batter's Box with Scotty Webb. So we can't thank you guys enough. If you haven't gone over to YouTube, please subscribe. East Coast Sports Investors. Shout out to our producer, the best in the business, Mr. Ryan Shanklin. Amazing work. Have a blessed day, and we will see you soon.